pleased to take our conversation now to Mexico, where we will have a panel of 4 individuals who will be joining us. And our moderator for this session is Jaro Gayosso, an industrial designer, entrepreneur, and design promoter and creative entrepreneurship advisor. He is the founder of the first online store for designers in Mexico and took the largest exhibition of Mexican design to Europe, subsequently being named the ambassador of Mexican design to Spain. Jaro is the director of Querétaro Design Week Festival and successfully led the designation of Querétaro as one of UNESCO's creative cities. We are very pleased to welcome him and 3 of his colleagues who will be hosting the next session.
Listo? Welcome to our talk about the integration of artisanal processes in contemporary design. We will say hello to everybody around the world. Greetings from Mexico. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much to the World Design Organization. From Querétaro City, I introduce you to our guests. First of all, Jorge Javier Cruz is a professor at the Universidad Autónoma de Querétaro and winner of the National Design Award for 2 years in a row. Beatriz Salto has her own brand of contemporary Mexican craft called Trader, and she is also a professor at the Universidad Autónoma de Querétaro. Then Orlando López has 20 years of experience in the carving of curry for the realization of craftsmanship in the community of Escolásticas here in Querétaro. And he shared the National Design Award with Jorge Javier. Finally, I'm Jaro Gayosso, director of the Querétaro Design Week Festival and promote of the design designation of Creative City of Design by UNESCO for Querétaro City. So let's enjoy this talk, and we hope you like it. Let's start with you, Jorge. My friend, from your experience working with artisans like Orlando, what is the role that you think they have in the contemporary design?
Well, thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you very much to the World Design Organization for this space that we are given today. We're very excited. And I think in a country like Mexico, thinking about design and craftsmanship is like a very ideal way of working. I think the artisans and the craftsmen here in Mexico have been relegated to kind of like a souvenir makers. But now, thankfully to industrial design and object design, we can work towards a new future of making new kind of products. And I think it's very important for us as designers to get this approach, to get close to our craftsmen, to get close to artisans, because we are dealing with how to make projects, how to make objects in our everyday. And thanks to this kind of approach, a handmade approach, we can make significant objects. I think it's very important for us.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Your turn, Orlando. Orlando, we could suppose that when you work with Jorge and Bea, there are moments where you feel like a designer or even an artist. What do you feel about that? Te traduzco. Suponemos que cuando trabajaste con Jorge y con Bea, hubo momentos donde te sentiste como un diseñador o incluso un artista. Compártenos ese sentir, ¿cómo era? ¿Cómo te sentías?
Sí, cuando trabajé con ellos fue una gran experiencia. Aprender cosas nuevas, ya que en la artesanía muchas veces no aplicamos algunas técnicas, pero solamente lo tradicional. Entonces, al trabajar con ellos me sentí muy a gusto colaborando como artesano, ya que a partir de ahí he aprendido muchas cosas y esta experiencia me ha servido para mejorar en mi trabajo, en mi actividad, lo que yo hago.
He says that working with us has really opened and brought his understanding because we work with processes, and he has been learning a lot about not only how to make things, but about design. And I want to add that it's very interesting for us to have this approach with Orlando because he's a great designer. He always says that he's more like an artist and a craftsman, and I think we are all in a way kind of hard, but he's a great designer. Even if he didn't have a scholar degree in design, he has the ability to understand objects in three-dimensional ways that we don't usually have, or we aspire to have that kind of understanding.
Great apportation, Orlando. Thank you very much. Beatriz, as your brand grows, it will be necessary to implement technology, right? How this integration should be?
Well, hi, Jaro. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here sharing this time with you. Going to your answer, all I can tell you is that it's impossible to leave technology aside because technology is everywhere and it's progressing every day. Day by day, it has a lot of changes. So we have to implement that technology in our process. But first, we have to learn how is the hand made work so we can improve that work and not use technology just to make every piece equal. So we have to sí, es para resaltar. How do you say resaltar? To highlight the details of the handwork. So I think that we have to implement that technology, but we have been talking about implement like router CNC to make some templates to make work easily and make more pieces in less time, but the details are made by hand.
If I may add to that, I think it's very important. Orlando is an expert in quarry and stone working, and we have been working with him, trying to make new uses of that. And as the time I have been working there in the town of Escolásticas, I have been researching that most of the craftsmen there, of the artisans, believe that if they have more technology, they will become even more craftsmen. They will be even better at their work. So it's not completely separate to think that for a craftsman to have access to technology, they can achieve better things by the way they're doing, and it will not diminish the importance and value that their work has.
Okay, there have to be a balance, right? Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Jorge. I want to put in the table two terms or two views, no? First of all, compete versus making community. What advice would you give to the audience about that?
I think it's very important. It's something that we, Bea and Orlando and I have been talking a lot about, because when we were in school, when we were in college, we were approaching design as a way of competition. they say to us that the teachers, or maybe, I don't know, headmasters anywhere, they tell you that one of you will get the job. And kind of you have that mentality that I have to be better than everybody else. And that kind of approach can be very, very limiting in the way that we can have a creative outcome. For example, me and Bea, we work with the same towns, we work with the same people, we work with a lot of things together, but I don't think of her as my competition, and she doesn't believe of me as my competition. And especially anything that we will do will compete with anything that Orlando does. For example, each one of us can have a different experience with the same kind of people and with the same kind of process, and the results will be completely different. And there's room for everybody, and there's market for every kind of object, and there's a different way to have this and not be competition. This is not to fight. We're not fighting for the same kind of customers, but we're making community, because we, for example, here, the three of us are a small community, and we're bringing more and more people to get inside this community, to work with more craftsmen here in Mexico, here in Querétaro especially. And we are getting into students to get here and try to make a new creative work. And what the students will make will be completely different from what us are making. And so it just adds up. We are not here to fight with each other. We are here to make community. If I get something good, Orlando will get something good, and Bea will get something good out of it. And we will be adding and adding and adding. And I think that's something important for us in this modern world, especially this last year. It has been a completely big example of why we have to be not competition between each other. We have to be supportive. We have to make community. And that's the idea.
I would like to also ask to Orlando like the same, so he can share the view. Orlando, ¿cómo ves en tu comunidad esta parte de competir con tus compañeros artesanos o la contraparte que es hacer justamente comunidad?
Creo que lo mejor es hacer un equipo. La competencia es buena tal vez, pero muchas veces trabajar en equipo es mejor. Podemos lograr grandes cosas, podemos idear grandes cosas, podemos llegar a lugares donde tal vez no hemos llegado. Si trabajamos en equipo es mucho mejor para todos como artesanos.
Orlando says that we need to work as a team, because we can get to better places as a team. And he doesn't believe, especially in working by himself or in this kind of competition. He is also a team player, I think.
Nice, yes. Bea, as we know, you promote design as a way of dissemination or preservation, right? Can you share it with us, something of your view?
Yes, I think it's important to think about design as a way to share what we are doing in Mexico. So in that view, I think that we have to know that we have a lot of Mexico is really important by their traditional techniques. We have a lot of traditional techniques, but people don't know that, because when they go to buy something, they see everything the same. So I think that we can design, work in collaboration with artisans to make different process to different objects, so we can reach different markets using design.
Okay. Thank you, Bea. Ahí los de audio, si nos pueden apoyar por ahí, si están haciendo alguna pregunta, ¿sale? Ok. I want to go back with Orlando. Orlando, right now you are collaborating with amazing designers like Bea and Jorge. I want to know, how does this experience add to you and how do you live it? ¿No? Sé que estás trabajando ahora con grandes diseñadores como Jorge y Bea y nos gustaría saber qué es lo que ha añadido a tu vida y cómo lo has vivido.
Sí, esta parte para mí es de gran importancia.
Pégate un poquito el micrófono.
Antes de conocerlos, antes de trabajar con ellos, para mí era la artesanía era, digamos, un poco común a lo que vemos. Ahora que estoy trabajando con ellos, todo lo que hemos estado haciendo me ha dado la pauta a abrirme nuevos horizontes. Para mí eso es excelente como artesano, ya que el aprendizaje es muy, muy importante. Es muy importante. Es lo que yo puedo compartir a los demás en un futuro. En un futuro, todo lo que yo pueda lograr, quiero dejarlo a las nuevas generaciones. Para mí es muy importante que los jóvenes aprendan, ya que en este momento muchos chicos prefieren emigrar, trabajar en otras cosas y el concepto de artesanía ya no es tan importante para ellos. Entonces, para mí es como rescatar un poco ese concepto y llevarlo a un nivel un poquito más interesante.
Increíble.
Orlando was saying, and if I forget something in the translate, please tell me, that before he was working with us, he was looking at handmade jobs as a very common, regular kind of objects. But since he's been working with us, he can see the potential that this profession has to become and to become something of innovation. And he's also very interested in teaching this, to pass things to the young people, especially in his community, because a lot of young people there are not so much interested anymore in this kind of art and in this kind of process. So he's been trying, or his goal is to achieve that, to pass this to the next generation so they can learn from it and they can make more innovative objects out of the quarry working and craftsmanship.
Thank you, Jorge, for the translation. Jorge, I want to know, bueno, I know you want to write a thesis about public policy. Yeah. That's right. Please tell us a little about this really urgent matter in design industry.
Yeah, the thing about living in a place like Mexico is that we don't really have public policy or a lot of laws actually that can help the protection of craftsmen and craftsmanship here in the country, also in terms of design. So for example, we live here in a town, in a city called Querétaro, that a few weeks ago, a lot of craftsmen and artisans who were selling their things out of necessity on streets were removed by government and taken away by force, by police force. But at the same time, we're a country and we're a special state that has this traditional doll that represents the Ñañú community, the indigenous communities here in state, that is kind of visiting cities all around the world to represent Mexico and to represent the indigenous people community and the craftsmen. But the real craftsman here doesn't have the chance to flourish. We as country sometimes, or society, we think that the artisans need to be far away. We contemplate them as the souvenir from far away. We don't see them getting into the big markets. We don't see them getting into bigger stores. We are not used to that. And I think that's kind of a problem because, especially in this contemporary world, we need to have inclusion. We need to have them the same opportunities than each of us designers that work in the process of making things have. They deserve to have a better life and to have better income doing what they do every day. And in that sense, we can protect the continuity of craftsmanship, which is very important for us because Mexico is a great country, has a lot of different type of craftsmanship all around the nation. But some of them has been losing. We're losing these kind of techniques because people are not so much interested in that. And why are they not interested? Because they're not getting money. They're not getting the appropriate remuneration for what they do.
I would like to add that people doesn't know the value of the work because they can't see how things are made. They saw the objects, but they saw the final object. They don't see the process of the traditional technique. What's the value of that? No.
I think it's very important for us as designers because we get used to know the process. We are interested in know how things are made, and people usually just buy exactly that, as you said, the result. They don't understand the big lengths that craftsmen have to go to achieve that, and that's kind of complicated. That's why we need, actually, in my opinion, better policies to help our own people and to get them to the places that they can be.
Thank you. I would like to continue with Bea. Bea, from your vision as an entrepreneur with Trader, what value you think those design can bring to the handicraft?
Yes, well, in fact, I think that the value of the object is not the design, is the traditional technique that it's implemented in the result of this collaboration. Because we can make design, we can design things, but we can make that piece in with different processes. In my opinion, I think that the value of the things is that are made by hand. So there is the detail of the value of the pieces. But I would like to add something that it's important to me also, because I hope that when other artisans see what we are doing with Orlando, with this collaboration, they will want to participate with us, that they can see that we can make different things that they are doing now. So I hope that we can make some difference. That's why we are trying to invite also our students to learn about the traditional techniques, to learn how to work in collaboration. So they do things different than how they've been doing.
Yeah. And also, I want to add up that it's something that it's very common here in object making kind of career. Because, for example, in fashion, when something is handmade, when something is couture, the price gets higher.
Yes.
And somehow we believe that if it's handmade, the value of it is lower.
Because people think that it doesn't have quality,
Yeah.
but they need to learn how it's made so they can see where the quality is.
And also, it has a lot of culture behind it.
Yes.
It carries a lot of history. It carries a lot of culture. It carries a lot of families that depend on this. So I think it's very important.
Yes.
I have a final question for Orlando that I think is very important before go to our audience. Orlando, tell us about the consequences you see specific in the craftsman communities duocultural appropriation, and plagiarism. La traducción sería que si nos puedes compartir cuál es la consecuencia que tú ves en las comunidades, con la comunidad como la que estás tú en escolásticas, en donde pues, obviamente está este tema de apropiación cultural y el plagio. ¿Cómo enfrentarlo? Y si es que también hay por ahí algún factor positivo.
Bueno, creo que es difícil enfrentar este tipo de situación, ya que como comunidad a veces ni siquiera aceptamos el valor de nuestro trabajo. Entonces, para poder defender la labor que hacemos, tendríamos que reconocer primero que es importante. Entonces, como artesanos, primero tendremos que reconocer que es importante nuestro trabajo, unirnos, hacer equipo y tratar de mejorar cada vez, de mejorar, porque sucede mucho que entre nosotros mismos a veces alguien elabora una pieza, una pieza, lo que sea, una artesanía y el de frente hace una igual y el de lado hace una igual y el vecino del otro lado hace otra igual, pero el costo es menos. El que lo ideó lo vende, digamos, en un costo y el de frente le baja para vender más y el del lado le baja más para vender todavía más y eso nos perjudica a todos porque entonces no le estamos dando el valor a nuestro trabajo. Es ahí donde obviamente alguien verá un área de oportunidad y seguramente ese lo aprovechará.
What Orlando said is that first, as a community, they need to understand the value of the things that they make within each other's. One of the main things that happen there is that is between them, the craftsmen, that usually one makes one piece and the next one copies, and the one that makes it first has a higher price, so the price starts getting low and low. So he says that as a community of craftsmen, they need to first recognize themselves and give value to the things that they do, so they can get that from the outer public.
Perfect. Well, then we won't have enough time to the questions for the audience, but I want to thanks to Diana Albarran, Dana Morales, to Roxanne Spank. Thank you very much. Julius Musjoki. Thanks for the comments. We are going to take a view of later. And finally, well, thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Orlando and Bea, for accepting the invitation. And obviously, thank also to the Universidad Autónoma de Querétaro for hosting us. And thank you to the World Design Organization. We are united by design, and we say goodbye from Mexico. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy World Industrial Design Day.
Happy World Industrial Design Day. Thank you so much. I think that was really a very interesting session.